This is Inside Indiana Business Radio on demand for Friday, July 14th, 2023. I'm Gary Dick. Purdue University has named Jim Bullard, the longtime president and chief economist of the St. Louis Federal Reserve, as the inaugural dean of the Mitchell E. Daniels Jr. School of Business. Bullard has spent the last 15 years at the St. Louis Fed. He built a reputation for his work within the Federal Open Market Committee. In 2014, The Economist named Bullard among its most influential economists. Purdue President Mung Chiang.
If you think about the three main steps we're taking, right? Recruiting talents, securing resources, and strategizing actions. We are moving forward with great intent and intensity on each of these three. And today is, of course, a pivotal, momentous moment on the first, recruiting talent and leadership.
Indianapolis-based third-party logistics company Spot is expanding its presence on the East Coast, opening a new office in downtown Charlotte. The move means an additional 144 workstations. The company plans to add about 150 new jobs as well to bring the total office headcount to more than 300. A slow sports scene contributed to a stale month for sports betting in Indiana as the state continues to come to terms with no longer being a sports betting refuge in the Midwest. The drop is not a huge cause for concern, though, as the summer months typically spell lower revenue across the nation. The state is on pace for a $4 billion handle, that according to analysts from PlayIndiana.com. From the state's number one source for Indiana business news, you're listening to Inside Indiana Business Radio. For 25 years, we've had the honor of telling the story of Indiana business. More than 1,300 shows, 8,000 interviews. We've traveled from Valparaiso to Versailles, Fort Wayne to Fort Branch, and everywhere in between. And we are just getting started. Our team is passionate about Indiana business because your story is worth telling. Join us every week as we travel the state to bring you Indiana's story. Inside Indiana Business, 25 years and counting. Consumer spending that boosted state revenues has cooled after 2 years of above-average financial performance, bringing the state's reserves back within a typical range.
Indiana ended the 2023 fiscal year with $2.9 billion in reserve accounts, far short of the $6.1 billion it reported in 2022. Lawmakers also plowed $3.1 billion into one-time spending, bringing down the surplus. Reserves account for 16.3% of the current year's expenditures, above the 12.5% watermark for triggering an automatic taxpayer refund. However, a change in the most recent budget omits the state's tuition reserve account from consideration this year, meaning payments wouldn't be triggered unless the state had closer to $3.5 billion in savings. Lawmakers included the language to avoid another round of refunds. Alex Brown, Inside Indiana Business Radio.
Clarksville-based TidalWise Technologies has closed on a more than $1 million seed round of funding. The company, which has developed a software platform designed to help title companies, law firms, and real estate professionals streamline operations, plans to use the funding to scale its product and add jobs. The funding round was announced this week in conjunction with the launch of the TidalWise platform. The Indiana Convention Center, Lucas Oil Stadium, and multiple vendors are seeking workers to staff Indianapolis Colts football games and other big events at a job fair Saturday at Lucas Oil. Roles include concessions, security, housekeeping, retail, ticketing, and guest services. This is Gary Dick for Inside Indiana Business Radio on Demand.